Welcome back, everyone, to Valorant Challengers League North America. I'm your host, Elizabeth, joined by Roy and Dryad. And if you're just joining us, you missed Shopify Rebellion lose their map pick of Haven to Winthrop University in very ultra convincing fashion, 13-5. Winthrop University making a statement. Roy, I'm going to put you on the spot right away.
Yep.
Sorry.
Hit me. It's okay.
You said starting on defense was, quote, a choice for Winthrop University.
Yep.
Was it the correct choice?
It would appear it was the correct choice. I think they absolutely had a read. At least it felt like it, right? They knew how to slow down paint. It felt like Shopify Rebellion Black were playing at a pace that they're not really used to on that map, right? They're used to things working their way. They're used to like not getting so hard stalled on the C hits, but it really did feel like Winthrop University, they came with a game plan. Maybe they were expecting this map and they had an absolute read on how SRB wanted to approach the map, and it showed in their defense side, a 9-3 finish.
It was interesting to see, especially going into that first half. We say, okay, Winthrop University, they win the pistol, they win the bonus. Wait, they keep winning and winning. And there was an attempt of a recovery after you see that timeout, round 6. That is when you see Shopify Rebellion Black get those 3 rounds, but that is all that they got into their half, and into a half that you'd think would benefit them as well as they go into the attacking side. But it was really cool. I mean, Winthrop University were super proactive on this defense, doing so much. Once again, with this Yori that we've been talking about, the impact that you can have in the maps with the Yoro of Infiltrator. In a lot of situations towards the A side, he was set up for something like this, like a one and done if it was any other agent. But he does this, gets that one pick, backs up, and everybody else has already been flooding that side, making sure that the attempt of a hit for Shopify Rebellion Black is going to be ineffective. So it's little things like that that it seems like Shopify Rebellion Black were not able to adapt to in time. And I mean, just not what we were expecting at all. I mean, we talked about the Winthrop overtimes. We talked about how this was the Shopify Rebellion map pick. And it was just complete domination for Winthrop University.
Yeah, this was a great response. And I think the one thing that I'm learning more and more as I watch more of Winthrop University is the fact that there's just so many hard carries on this roster. Like if it's not Infiltrator popping off, they have moves. They have Nazi, the IGL, who can put up numbers, right? They have Ali. There's just so many players. They have Flare. Like everyone on this team can pop off. And whenever 2 or 3 of them are sort of having their time, they're in their flow state, it feels like their matches are just so easy. And I also would like to say that this honestly felt like a little bit of rock, paper, scissors in terms of style, right? Because whenever Winthrop University are feeling it, they're in your face constantly. They're challenging you on every phase of the round. And when you have a team like SRB who likes to move as a unit, they like to play a lot more macro. They like to have these sort of like checkmate moments. It can be a little bit awkward when you're feeling like the enemy team is disrespecting you. And honestly, if you look at the first kills here on the scoreboard, you can just tell that Winthrop University were absolutely dismantling them, getting 12 of the 18 first kills, guys. That is absolutely insane by Winthrop University.
Something I want to point out as well is that we saw our first timeout from Winthrop University today, even during Lotus when things were really not going their way. I think it was 6-2. Winthrop was like, hold, please, we must talk.
And you know what those are?
It was that kind of like, it was almost like such a, I don't even know what to call it. It was so different from the Lotus Winthrop that we saw. So maybe there was maybe we just fell right into their trap almost, you know? Maybe something happened where we we expected a clean 2-0 from Shopify after this, but no, we are going to a third map. And Roy, I'm going to highlight something that you said is kind of the hard carry aspect of Winthrop University. Like any single player can have their pop-up moments. It's not often you see Infiltrator at the bottom of the scoreboard on Yoru, but here we are, where both of our Sentinels are at the top of the scoreboard. But I'm gonna toss something to you, Dan. Pancakes, I believe, has been the MVP for both games today thus far, correct? How do you think he's finding that success?
Yeah, it's really cool to see. I mean, obviously on this map specifically, definitely struggling on that side. You starting on the attacking side here, and you're trying to play a couple of those rounds that are trying to be slower, a couple more default, kind of the style that Shopify Rebellion Black like to do, where they're playing around the map. And Pancakes is often finding that value, maybe whether it's going to be the first pick or to get that space to go into that side. But again, Winthrop University was just playing so much faster, and this is just a map that historically has been very, very good for moves. So he was kind of able to play his own game constantly on that defensive side. That really made a difference. But now, as we're talking about it too, whether it is the Sentinels that are going to be strong holding those sites, or whether it's going to be the duelists that we've been talking about the whole day, something that Shopify Rebellion Black was struggling with when they went against Core and lost that match, and they just showed us that they're struggling still is getting those opening picks. I mean, sometimes you're really relying on Pancakes, as we saw in that map #1, and on Paint as well, that is so good at starting that fight, initiating that fight, getting that first pick. But if it's not happening, it's just completely gone, and that is a point of concern for me as we move into Pearl, because they total for that 13-4 that they got on Pearl, they could only get 3 opening picks, nothing else. And if it continues to be that way, as we just saw in Haven, it could be a Winthrop University win.
And maybe I was right with my predictions, just saying, but but moving on, Roy, something we talked about during the break before we hopped on to live was that these teams have had pretty enough reps on Pearl to say like, oh, they haven't, you can't say they haven't played Pearl. Talk to me about those reps. What are we seeing from either team? What can we expect?
Oh, that's honestly a good question. I think from their previous history, they've had some decent results. I can see that Winthrop University has been playing even outside of VCL. They've been actively competing on the map, but not even a week ago, about 8 days ago, they played against Prosperity. They looked great on the Pearl side. On the Shopify Rebellion side, they've also looked pretty solid. They played it recently against Core. They did get dominated, but before that, they had a clean win versus Funhavers. They also, that's one of the maps they took away from M80 as well. It was 13-8. They looked good. Also, just a recap for us guys on Pearl, we are seeing a new duelist for Paint. It's the Waylay. He looked great on it on the Funhavers match. Yeah, it wasn't as good against Core, but they got decimated, it happens. But against their match versus Funhavers, it looked really good. I feel like Waylay really suits Paint's playstyle, and it's I'm looking forward to it once again.
That is exactly what I wanted to talk about. I'm wondering if we're going to continue seeing this Waylay, because for Paint, as we've seen historically, he's one of those players that is able to play the Yoru here as well, is able to play the Jet, is kind of able to flex to whatever is needed for the team. And for Waylay, I mean, we've seen now, just looking at VCT, looking at a team like Evil Geniuses, that you're playing a Waylay that is really good. It has a lot of cool things that you can add, but it can get countered pretty fast. And it is also one of those that you can swap depending on the comfortability. Yeah, I said that right.
Hey, you got it. Let's go.
It's a hard word. Player. So Paint was looking great the first time when he was debuting on this Waylay. Second time, not as good. Really struggling to get the opening picks and creating that space for the team. Even if you're able to kind of bait that entry back up, the team was not really able to follow up in time. So if they're able to change this, I wouldn't be mad. I think it's one of those win conditions that you can look for.
Yeah, and I think the one thing with Waylay too that we have to keep in mind is she is such a mechanical duelist compared to some of the other ones. Like, she's kind of like Jet, right? Or Reyna, where if you're not getting your value in kills, if you're not getting your op kills, if you're not getting posted up, it can feel very daunting, right? You don't have much else to work on versus like the Neon that can always make space with the wall.
We might be geniuses.
Oh.
Yeah, Dan, I was about to ask you, like, you were talking about that Waylay. And then it's not there. It's nowhere to be seen, actually.
Yeah, actually, I'm actually a huge fan of this Yoru pick. This is a great pick, right? We've seen the Yoru. There's so much more to work with. The ultimate is almost impossible not to get value with. And they've even swapped off the KO onto the Tejo. That makes complete sense. It makes the backhaul control on attack quite easy, and the retakes a lot more manageable for SRB. So I'm excited to see this matchup here.
It's really cool to see Paint going back to this Yoru. I think it brings you one of the most values that you can see in a map like this one with the Yoru, where you're going to be holding the operator, you're going to be able to TP and take control of side. And that is something that we've seen for teams do constantly, right? The value that you get out of that TP, playing with the operator constantly on that defensive side. But first, they're going to have to deal with Winthrop University and Infiltrator doing a little bit of the same in a very similar style, and moves potentially on that other side being really annoying with that utility.
Well, folks, only one team, can be the winner of this one. I almost said one of us can win the game, and I was like, we are not playing. But I know who's casting. That is Tenrek and Nerds. Friends, please take it away.
She's right. That's who we are. It's us. We're casting now.
Yippee! Dude. So I'd love to win a game, honestly.
So Shopify Rebellion Black, yes, they have changed their composition to what is not only the status quo, but what would be considered their comfort picks as of late. Pancakes on Cypher, Paint on Yoru, BCJ on Tejo. This looks tremendous. This looks synergized. This looks powerful. This looks like it could really thwart the Winthrop defense, despite moves looking tremendous on this Vice on this map as of late.
Since we're giving hype to Shopify, I want to give hype to Winthrop because I might be flipping. I might be pulling a Roy and flip-flopping here because Winthrop, they looked really good on Haven. I expected Shopify to bite back and us to go to another crazy overtime. Did not happen at all. They blew out the prediction. Shopify started to roll. They stomped it. And now I am personally a huge fan of Nasi on that info gathering role. Yeah, it was a little bit wonky on Lotus, right, playing as Sova, but Fade provides so much more to deny some of those pushes out of paint, to deny some of that synergy, and hopefully break apart Shopify Rebellion as things get started and the pushes get tested.
Infiltrator already walking up here, taking this jet on the Pearl. He's been quite the thorn in players' sides when it comes to these counter pushes, and still spots Spaz's gun. He'll step away, but Shopify is taking all this time, and they've already completely split the board up all the way up to the water, and they found Nasi.
Now they have so much advanced space here. Winthrop University looking to collapse, and Trade the Pancakes is just there. And yeah, like you said, because they have it here, it's kind of cooked unless paint gets tested. No,
but he doesn't check for paint.
At this point, right, Infiltrator's got to go huge for something to change.
Yeah, there's just lines of defense that really matter here, and Infiltrator always does, doesn't he? It's got to be an ace, though, to round out this round and save face for Winthrop. Has the right gun to do it, but paint the turn back on the right click. Seals the round for Shopify Rebellion after they grabbed the entire map for it.
Infiltrator almost made us, you know, fools, right? Like, we were like, yep, the round is over. And the Infiltrator's like, no, give me 1 second, let me cook. But it does give some creds to Infiltrator, some hype to them as well. But Shopify Rebellion buying up a really good mid play. Mid on this map has been a sore subject for a lot of teams. You really got to make sure you have some sort of coordination. I know Nonverbal really love to take mid control and then abuse that towards the A site. And Shopify Rebellion also like to toy with that mid play, but at this point, it's just a matter of getting paint set up as much as possible here. Infiltrator, also to mention, buying up an Outlaw. So good to carry over into the third round. Most definitely will be saving if push comes to shove.
Just getting rid of that Cypher cam very quickly and heading back over to the A push that Winthrop knows is inevitable. Shopify not too keen to hide it. They can util dump pretty freely on top of the gun diff. Paint trying to TP into the gate crash and actually doesn't get a soul. Just a little bit of damage onto a couple members, but no more than that. It's the rest of Shopify that has to breach through, and they can't entirely. They can only grab one along the way. They'll disperse back open across the mid lane, but that may be enough space to garner them the map again here. And they can kind of swing back wherever they choose to. Nasi gonna step into it, and that's probably the only bear trap Shopify need to set up to take back this A site with confidence.
Thing that I'm looking at is the weaponry. It's starting to even out and actually fall in favor of Winthrop because they lost. And now the position of this Outlaw, they go into this, they go down, they have to set up the smokes, but even then, Infiltrator has the timing and the read.
He has to check stairs, and he still grabs one on the way out. But is it enough? Flare does have the salvos to stall on top of default plant. 10 seconds to go, and Ali gonna try and play for time, but Monty gets ahead of it on the following swing. And that should be all the damage control required for Shopify this round. Indeed, 3 stay standing for their second round.
Solid stuff out of them, but again, it looked rather dicey. Even more than that, though, BCJ is going to pick up that Outlaw. So you carry over even more weapons. Weapons that you didn't buy, but you can drop over. Paint is going to trade with them. Right, you know, I wanted to make the call of like there's laws, right? We had the Bogdan's law, but here it's the Paint law or the Sniper law. You give it to the Yoru because you want to be that mischief maker. And Paint, you know, they highlighted him a lot, but I want to talk a little bit about the rest of this team and how well they've been looking on the pushes. Shopify Rebellion have gotten a really good hold on this. More than that, Infiltrator now kind of alone on this push. Ali joins them up together, but I'm really looking towards that initiator utility not really backing up Infiltrator in some of these fights.
He is playing a little alone at the moment. Winthrop willing to part with that if it means taking that extra space. by the looks of it, at least for this round. A bit snake back from Winthrop. It seems like they're trying to catch Shopify. Maybe, yeah, they have to check the sideline of CT, but full stack will get red here in Plaza. Early C's doesn't grab anybody. Shopify are actually waiting for something akin to that.
Bring them down.
Now the Prowler will get released to confirm that they're still here, and Pancakes on the way is swung wide and caught Infiltrator on the low. Oops. Now holding it down from the back. Paint's TP doesn't work. And so Shopify have to get in the old-fashioned way, and they will. Now a neural theft to confirm the remaining 2 players' positions. So Flare caught early here as Ollie is scurrying on back.
Sees to come through as well. I mean, they have really good side hold here out of Shopify Rebellion. Doubled up for Winthrop, but still, the utility is there. Monsi picking up the Outlaw as well. Info gained. It's over.
No ability to win this fight out for Winthrop University. Shopify, I've got a good thing going to get us started here. Able to scare Winthrop enough times over the course of that round to win out the util war, and then scratch away at the site just as inefficiently, just as messily, but they still win out enough fights and keep a whole lot of players still up with now rifles in hand. Going into this 4th round. Really good snowball they're setting up at the moment, nerds.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you've got yourself a couple rounds up. This is a very dominant map out of Shopify Rebellion historically. But Winthrop is no slouch on this either. They've gotten some really good moments of brilliance in terms of individual outplay. But when it comes to this map, I feel like the macro is so important. And Shopify Rebellion have had that consistency now. Looking at this, Ollie's going to buy the hero rifle. The rest of the roster picks up Infiltrator, Blade Storm to be popped, and they're entertaining this mid fight. It's not going to find them too much value, though. The entire roster for Shopify Rebellion choosing to stack towards A, but it does allow Winthrop to play more reactive to what Shopify Rebellion are going to do.
Infiltrator doesn't land. That's probably the one undercut Winthrop have the privilege of going for this round. Ollie's hero rifle going to be unable to suss out anything until after this spike goes down. The rest of Winthrop is here to play for it. Salvo's a little bit late. Monsi only takes a hint of damage, and Paint's already locked down the entirety of that angle. Drops down, searching for more. Dimensional Drift already in the tank. Nasi momentarily caught here on Art. Just trying to fully confirm his position. Moves not found out, not found yet. 2 down on the Sheriff, and suddenly it's interesting again. Steps out of the smoke, grabs a rifle for free. Now we're on site. Nasi stepping on top of the first tap of the spike. Monsi quickly deals with him. And from there, you got too much on your plate. Shopify, hold on to the 4th.
They managed to creep up on them. Pancakes as well, lurking in through mid, and now that was an eco. They buy up into it. And that's what I was discussing, where on the individual level, Winthrop does have good outplays. I hope to see more of it. Sometimes allowing individuality to thrive can really allow a team to coordinate in a really wonky way. But regardless, Shopify Rebellion knows how to hold things down. Yeah, they lose a couple players on the site, but they know that they have that Astra utility. They know what players they have. They always play that, jokingly referred to cringe post plant of just spam utility on them and prevent them from getting that spike diffused.
Who's next?
Dimensional Drift used here by Paint. We'll confirm the placement of that shear, and so no one will be attuned to it. Now he'll just open up sight, get on himself, try and fight it out himself, and can't carry that burden. Not allow enough time for the rest of Shopify to get on either, but moves found out. Taken away by BCJ. So a solid trade that now leaves Plaza reopened. Forces Flare to stay up on it while Pancakes continues to be choked up on this Art swing, making sure that nobody gets aggressive for the mid swing.
Another important note is the ultimates here for Shopify Rebellion as they decide to convene on mid. If you could take one of these down, it'd be huge. Spaz the first to peek, but nothing to found just yet. Engagement start. Fall off.
Gonna set up the wire there, and Shopify gonna step into Art. Now the salvo's in reaction from Winthrop. Early response, and they'll be stacked on top of this fight. That has to happen. Shopify have no other choice. They can't double back again, and Ollie has the hold on steps. It's a guarantee at this point. Winthrop fully boxed out, and Ollie goes absolutely crazy.
Let's go for Winthrop. Ollie, the anchor on the site as they try to flood in. Shopify Rebellion playing that a lot slower, trying to have the mind games of, oh, we're going B, we're going A, we're going to be kind of meandering around mid. And it all comes down to just one really good moment out of Ollie and the rest of the squad. That's that individuality we've seen, but a little nod to Winthrop. They had a lot of backup for Ollie. So immediately after Ollie started taking that fight, you see Flair, Infiltrator, the rest of the roster, Nazi as well, running in to make sure that you're not stuck alone like we've seen them times before.
Now you've got some ults on top of that to supplement. Really aggressive into Plaza this time. They'd like to deal with this sheer the old-fashioned way, and they will. Jump into it. Now Nasi just going to plant himself on top of it. Be prepared for the 10 peek that VCJ goes for. Traded back away, and Nasi ults on top of it. Catches Paint and Monsi as well. And it's all Winthrop University in the kill feed here over on the Plaza door, where Spike is now stranded.
Doing a great job of just holding on to their angles like we've said before. And I think I nodded to this, alluded to this within our storyline of, you know, individual prowess for these teams, but unfortunately, swarm and surround. Pancakes is still gonna catch a timing. I thought Nazi was trying to swarm and surround, but did not come through. It's this a really annoying setup here. High-low, however you want to call it. Ollie's gonna grab it. Ollie also has their ultimate. Most of the Winthrop squad has, actually no, sorry, 2 people have ultimates here. Most of them are close. At least some of the real major ultimates. We're talking like Armageddon. But now we did see the Nightfall used by Nasi to great effect, but that 3K is going to start charging things up for them. Enough about the ultimate debacle. I want to talk about this debacle that Shopify have found themselves in. The slow rounds into fast pops haven't been working for them anymore. They have to change up their pacing here. I mean, it's only been 2 rounds, but it's still the early parts of this game. As I think we are in a tech timeout. Yes, it is.
A little more time to think about how you're going to flip the script if you're Shopify Rebellion, because I couldn't agree more. I don't think that you can kind of spring into action as effectively as you were able to in this first quarter. Winthrop are far more prepared to jump on top of this. Rather than not approach the Vice util at all, instead, they've attempted to try to egg it on. And to that effect, unfortunately, Winthrop have been too quick to react to it. Like, they're too quick to react to everything. So I think Shopify need to prioritize having less steps. So I think continue going for the least common denominator. It just comes down to either finding a proper lurk or a proper flush, or, you know, just getting that crucial first blood that you know, either this duelist or this Teo is searching for.
Walk up here, not as disjointed as before. So that's really nice, right? Playing a little tighter, which is what I was worried about initially. And now it's going to be a true brawl here. Ollie has been solid on the holds, but you don't want them to go down. That's going to be a lot of stall potential out that ultimate. You can't get rid of it, so they have to crawl back towards A's side. A lot more consistency out of Shopify Rebellion. That tech timeout might have given them some room to rethink.
Oh, Paint playing close in front of the Prowler and almost fully tears Nazi down, but cannot completely chip him down.
Now in the mid stall, Shopify Rebellion looks to make the call to where to go.
And Kicks is in.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's taking down Nazi. Now jumping into the back. Moves prepped for it. But the Neural Theft is going to confirm these positions. And so Moves is throwing down a pretty proactive Steel Garden. Flair in the 1v1 wins his in Plaza, and the remainder for Winthrop pretty easy to deal with. BCJ alone in the 1v3, 20 seconds to go. Flair caught early and can't even take care of him. So 3 straight rounds now for Winthrop in response.
Yeah, return to sender. Return to thee. like Winston Churchill back into the English debacle, but at this point, the debacle is on the Shopify Rebellion squad. They haven't been able to mount much here. I mean, it's not like they're playing super rough. They've had really good hits. They've had really good control. But it seems like Winthrop University is very content with allowing individuals to thrive and having that 3-stack so consistently fighting towards A. Feels like a repeat over and over again for both these sides. Fight out for A main control and rotate out potentially.
Big stealth drone proc that lets Ollie just fire away. Infiltrator does the same on the wide swing, and Winthrop can just completely tear this one apart.
I mean, it's the same setup out of Winthrop time and time again. Shopify Rebellion just walks straight into it and gets demolished.
Yeah.
There's nothing to say there. It's just Winthrop, like, held it down. I guess the one thing to say is huge props for Winthrop. They've tied the score 4-4. They have it. They have their prep done and dusted here. And even more than that, their strat calling has been good. They go for a little adaptation on it. So Tejo now playing towards Art's side instead of pushing up. Because now that you've done it so often, Winthrop can allow Infiltrator to play individually, or at least a little bit more individually, without needing that Tejo initiator support. That allows Nazi, as well as the rest of the Sentinel line, I mean, sorry, Vice more specifically, is the only Sentinel line to play further back on the B site.
A lot of independence afforded to Infiltrator, which is always what you like to see, but there's always still never that there's never that disconnect from the rest of the team. Infiltrator is never disjointed, but always so out there. Oh, now Moobs has found a way to creep up and get pancaked quite early. But BCJ, sightline down Plaza, at least takes care of Nasi. Now SRB have control of that lineup to B as Winthrop continue to stay packed in with the slight man advantage.
And the thing for Infiltrator that I've always noted is the fact that you're tradable, right? Super important to be tradable on the defensive line.
Oh,
like that, right?
Spaz, but yeah.
Just immediately. And that's the cleanup that Winthrop have had. And SRB, and because they're also really good individual players, Winthrop has been getting a lot of first bloods. It's something that I really will be excited to see when the analyst desk talks about it. But 5 in a row, it's really been a game of, like, you know, all the way from Lotus of like one-sided thoroughfares. It's like a one-way street ever consistently that's being flip-flop around, forcing SRB, Shopify Rebellion Black into this timeout where they're going to be discussing a lot of the small mistakes, how they're going to use some of these ultimates and what pace they're deciding to take. Paint, I wouldn't be surprised if they go for a potential fight to try and grab an orb somewhere. A site has seemed nigh impossible for Shopify Rebellion to take, especially out of A main. It was a sore site for Winthrop. Early within this game, Winthrop was losing a lot towards the A site. A site just felt like, okay, well, we need to bolster it up. And now that it's been bolstered, Shopify Rebellion are a little bit worrisome. They haven't been able to take the B site. B long seems like a very arduous journey. The last time they tried to do it with rifles, it didn't work out. Specifically, to be more specific, last time they tried to do it during the Winthrop win streak, they got retaken on rather quickly.
Yeah, there's just no complete response, no setback that Winthrop can't throw that can eventually get caught in the back end of Shopify. Moves with that implant on lane. It was watched for, it was checked for, it just was not beat.
Here.
So Shopify giving it another shot. A little bit of attention paid to mid. Infiltrator
Here.
now on this operator, staring it down. Ali gonna check out of this one. Infiltrator still waiting for this walk up, and now here it comes. Checking is Spaz.
Wow. They have enough money for Infiltrator to have a rifle. Man, bougie out here. But it honestly makes sense. We're deep into the game. Like, it's round 10. I mean, go for it. Because now they're expecting an op. They don't know exactly where to go. But you have Infiltrator who's ready for any retake and be adaptable. It's literally a Ditto who can go in any way that they want. And it creates this apprehension out of Shopify Rebellion. Like, where are we going to push? How can we push into this?
You also understand, like you said, the Shopify are playing to end up with more resources in these last couple rounds of the half, so they're playing to be richer, they're playing for these orbs. And so Winthrop University have every reason to continue playing so static here. Infiltrator is going to pick this rifle back up and not land a damn thing with it. Maybe he should have kept that off in his hands.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness me. Nasi going to try and hold it down on site. Rest of Winthrop is doing okay. And Flare good for the 1-for-1 as the stare angle persists, but the spike is left. And BCJ has to run out of it. Pancakes kills from steps. 10 seconds to go. Nasi trying to play the stall as well as the kills, but he can't do both at the same time. Spike can be held on to. Nasi lands for 1, into 2. The flick back with the pistol lands all the shots onto Spaz! Impossible round for Winthrop to clutch up. To keep the streak going. Nasi, you are unbelievable.
Yeah, we're talking about Pokemon Shock Pikachu face. Said it multiple times on broadcast. That was a round of a round. Holy. And Nasi, the fragging. IGL has their ultimate, has everything in it, and has just probably, I would even say, the confidence to go for it. And we don't have to show this. Okay, come on, let's show this clip. Production was showing for Infiltrator. I mean, are you freaking out again? The 4K was clinical off them, and it denies what would have been a round to break. It would have been 5-5. Shopify Rebellion would have finally found the break within the ice, the crack to take a breath. So many ultimates invested, and still nothing to be found off of it.
Hero moments just when you think Winthrop has run out of steam for the very first time in another money run that either side has been going for. Paint, another early infiltration here up to mid though, takes care of that clutcher and leaves us with an early personnel advantage on Shopify's new take of A site question mark? No, we'll see.
Question mark to be answered though. A has, again, like been a weak point at the beginning, but Winthrop have really been able to lock it down. Now, we did see Shopify Rebellion trying to poke that bear yet again, but the hero play still comes through, and that factors into Shopify Rebellion's apprehensiveness here. Spaz on the other end of it. Waiting. Timing's there, needs to run away. They have just a stinger in hand, so there's literally, I mean, I would say there's just no point in taking that engagement.
They're fast enough they can go for the pinch here from Art. They just haven't been able to check dugout clearly enough, and they've already used quite a bit of util. Now Ali gonna throw the Nebulas down, pretty confident that this is where the push is going, and indeed it is. Now that that util has been recharged back up, they can confidently take this. Spaz still not checking this, has to wait behind him, but the rest of Shopify's stack can quickly deal with it, and so now it's a far more traditional A-take. Infiltrator's operator doesn't land on anything but a clone. Now has to try and take this default on the shorty. Monty gonna go plant on the outskirts so that Infiltrator can't swiftly deal with him. Now still searching for that, instead sprays out. Actually, BCJ takes a lot of damage from that. And with Ollie down, every excuse to pick up another rifle, Infiltrator and moves in the 2v4. Spaz quickly deals with Infiltrator's first swing through that Cosmic Divide sandwich that's been set up. And it's all down to Moobs, who no longer has that protection, gets the ping, and gets swung out on at any moment and has a world of util to deal with in his stead. The win streak surely ends here for Winthrop University, and Moobs fully aware of it. We'll step away and wait for an exit as Shopify Rebellion will nab 5.
My ultimate's ready.
I was gonna say, huge for them to just wait on the exit, considering that you are now able to get yourself. Oh no, Spaz. Oh no, you interrupted. Man, that interrupted my point, because that's so silly. That's so silly. They needed the economy. They really needed the money for that. I mean, not like it's an insane deficit here. They did pick up 1 and they've had the loss bonus, but it's like, are you going to be able to buy up full stars? You are. Okay. I was worried. My concern is for not. Back to the point at hand, though. Breaks through the timings of it. Breaks through. And honestly, it would have taken a lot for Winthrop to maintain their streak, considering BCJ was still alive with salvos. The thing that now needs to come through is that SRB needs to pick up 2 in a row so they can get themselves a bear of 6-6, a 0-0 half heading into the next one. But Winthrop University is not out of it yet. They have a 3 stack towards A. It's the same one that they've had. It's worked in the past. And retake B, I mean, I'm trying to remember. We have seen a couple of retake fights out of Winthrop University, and they've been pretty solid, so I wouldn't be surprised if they could do it again. It's going to come off the back of if they decide to go B, which they don't. They're just going to leave an insert on Pancakes.
Staying quiet for now. As those vines get procced, he'll step away. Shopify maintaining that mid control, seeing how much they can tear at this Vice util, see if anybody is close on it. No Flare taking those steps back. Proper timing as the clone gets launched to trade away that util piece. We'll try and peek it back into this, actually relying on Flare still not being there. The Prowler confirming that they have in fact stepped into this, but Ollie, his lurch forward has been detected by the drone, and BCJ attempting to fight it. Utter failure there. Now the Nightfall perfectly placed on the Plaza to confirm 3. TP in just a tad bit late from Paint, but it's gotta work. And Infiltrator first trade through on the Plaza backstab, and there goes Spike. Now you're forced to back out again as Paint, and as Pancakes, you're forced to come forward. Neither side of it will fully work out, and Winthrop will make it a 7-5 half.
Again, right, that B site just has not been as good for Shopify Rebellion Black. Yeah, B's in the name. They were talking about it on Haven. I was making alludes and jokes, but at this point, it does not matter. At the end of the day, B just seemed like a too arduous. And they did have a pretty good setup there, right? I want to give Shopify Rebellion the credit that they deserve because they wanted to go for that lurk in. But immediately off of that, if you look towards mid, there was a rewrap coming out of Winthrop University who was ready with a read of their own. So we don't get the 6-6. And now Shopify Rebellion desperately need to pick up this pistol to get themselves to even footing, right? If they pick up the pistols traditionally, they get the next round. That gets them that 7th. And now it's the time for them to do it or face the music. Winthrop picks it up. That's really close to double digits. I wouldn't be surprised if they can carry that into double digits for Winthrop University. So the stakes are set. It's a matter of if Shopify Rebellion can pick it up or if Winthrop is going to continue their dominance on this map.
You'll already see how Winthrop is going to try and approach this attack. Moob's trying to wreak havoc on that lurk here on the A lane while the rest of them go for the very quick take with Infiltrator being the tip of that spear. Ollie now going to get fully pressured by the Shopify stack. They see these isolated ideas and know that they're coming. So Winthrop in response have to try and take back as much space in the back of the map as possible.
Here.
Intimidate the remainder of Shopify Rebellion, and they're doing a pretty good job of it. They're forcing this lesser stack to back away, especially since they haven't confirmed Moobs' position just yet.
Because of the walk up here, oh man, this is such an insane play out of Winthrop University because they're going to pinch these players. And now that they've tucked in towards Art, Shopify Rebellion is hoping for a either exploring into mid or playing reactive to how Winthrop is going to go. Just basically preparing to retake here on the A site.
Yeah, we'll have to be a 5-man retake. Arkrose getting shot to confirm that they're already here. 25-second window to give this a shot now. So on top of the Prowler, we'll give the first swing a go. Salvo's into the back site, and already a little bit of the health pool gone, but Moob's still standing, can swing outside, and Nasi grabs the first blood of the fight. Monty trades it back, and now we're back to looking for those opening peaks. Shopify losing a whole lot of health along the way, though, and just now they can step in. Just now they can get sprayed into, and with minimal time, minimal health, it just seems unlikely, but that's what they do. They just continue to trollops forward. Such little health, but Pancakes holds it out. Is there enough time? I do believe there is. Shopify Rebellion Black, it's 4 HP that separates them, and 1.25 seconds of Spike, for that matter, that separates them from a pistol round.
And there it is. Shopify Rebellion pick it up close to getting the even footing that they wanted to pick up on the previous round, but they couldn't get. And now, honestly, I just love the way that Winthrop played that. Even though it was kind of a loss for them, I want to highlight the fact that they planted it towards backside. They even had the setup for Flare backside. And it shows, right, they could wrap because they got so much of that space. Shopify Rebellion, this is where they start to shine. Because they have that macro and because they know, okay, we could just group up and fight together in the 5vx retake. Even if it's a 5v5 retake, we're more likely to win that than if we spread out and hold, especially on a pistol where we have no information and a lackluster amount of utility to combat Winthrop University. Now, headed into this, Winthrop University, they don't have much to work with. Infiltrator's the only one with a weapon, and even then, it's got to be really deadly, which it doesn't land.
Yeah, first shot will not, so now he's got to try and rush forward and go for the trade instead, and it's just, okay, it is actually quite good. He grabs both of the traders to B, in fact, so it's going to be he and Moobs. who's holding onto this Outlaw now against the 3-man retake from Shopify Rebellion Black. Would love to chip away at one more member here, get rid of another gun to make this bonus as easy as possible and tie us back up at, or take that lead back. That would be, I think, best case scenario that Winthrop have in mind at the moment, but really anything's possible when you got these two on your team. Infiltrator and Moobs both kind of sideline and already some sprays through the boxes. Infiltrator not exactly in a prime position. Moobs gets one and Moobs gets a second. Now the shots on the Outlaw gone though, so you've got to start with the arc rows and BCJ's just gonna hold down the spike defuse. Moobs still grabs the kill at the end of the day, keeping things lethal for Winthrop University's favor, but we're tied up at 7.
For both these teams is to try and progress more and more through. I mean, the one benefit is that because they're sort of in the middle of the Swiss stage, it's not like it's super insane if they like lose out here, but you want to win, right? And even more so for Winthrop University, if they can topple one of the titans of VCL, of Valorant Challengers North America, it just goes and proves legitimacy to this collegiate roster who has done such a good job, I would say, so far. Like the fact that they took Haven and went toe-to-toe on Lotus has already gone within the story of just this game and proven that they are worth every, you know, investment that they've put in, not only with their time, with their university, with all the other stuff. But I digress here. Shopify Rebellion are on a really big eco right now, interestingly enough.
Yeah, this is a Stark buy. So, you know they're going to be playing close first to just allow for as many mistakes as possible. Sheriff held on to by Spaz, quickly dealt with in the peak by Moobs. Not an ounce of damage dealt to him. Pain, aggressive jump up for Intel. Potentially a quick drop kill, but TP's out before he's discovered. Infiltrator's turn to receive the spotlight.
The Cypher setup here.
Yeah.
I love it, right? Because now you have a lot of support here for Monsi, but you could also play towards the B and pretend to sort of anchor onto that. It's a nice little setup, but unfortunately, again, the gun differential is going to come through. 30 seconds on the board. Winthrop's just going to get this plant. They plant defaults with utility. It makes sense. They don't have a lot of advanced control. Infiltrator's going to find it, but again, for Winthrop University, this means a lot. Right, they can prove a lot here on the stage in front of everyone. They can get the revenge that they've so desperately wanted. I mean, they've already picked up a map against these Titans, so it's just a matter of if they can clench it out here. Shopify Rebellion's not out of it yet. The two found.
And Payne's been able to deal with the rest of Flair's health pool, and VCJ quite low at this stage. Nasi holding it down on the spike and moves from spawn. Quickly the threat dealt with. And I couldn't agree more. Winthrop University continue to make every match a proving ground, every test, you know, one that keeps you on the edge of your seat. Always the comeback story, always the ones to really come out swinging for the fences. And I mean, the way that they were able to climb up to that third spot in playoffs last split, the way that they've been able to constantly keep fighting up against these top caliber teams here in the second split as well. This 1-to-1 record is a fluke against any team other than Hubert Academy in Winthrop fans' eyes. But they're looking to try to make that thought a reality. If they could take down a team like Shopify, these previous champions, that would be the ultimate proof that this team is maintaining not just the confidence, but the skill level that they had previously.
Ultimate's gonna come out. TP out as well. Site take for Winthrop ensues. Something to highlight is all the ultimates that are going to be used here on the rifle round here. They've been charged up because of the fights. Infiltrator gets the first on the fight.
Grabs a rifle for it. Ultimate linchpin now for Winthrop University. Can try to get another fight going or trade another one off of BCJ. Rest of Winthrop trying to get inside now that the Armageddon has gone off. But Winthrop re-extends. And Paint alone with this operator. Good to start out for one. Now blind expired. Wrapping around this site, so dangerous in the 1v2. This looks pretty cooked, but first turn on to Moves. Nasi close enough to silence that. Winthrop will grab their 9th.
There it is. They pull ahead yet again for Winthrop University, doing an amazing job on the rifle. A lot of ultimates expended for the Winthrop side, or a lot of big ultimates, right? We're talking about the Blade Storm that was popped, as well as the Armageddon. I think actually, sorry, that was for BCJ. So, you know, both sides expending ultimates. Not a lot on one angle, but the scales are tipped in their favor ever consistently on these rifles. Paint looked very poised for it, but unfortunately, the Paint delivery service is experiencing some delays, so you gotta make sure to call corporate perhaps and get those stuff sorted out. Regardless, Shopify Rebellion down to an eco. They're gonna have some time in this round to talk about and figure out what they want to do.
And this is a powwow of a round for Shopify Rebellion Black, just trying to hold back and play for this time, see how much they can interrogate out of Winthrop University's attack playbook. And already they're doing some good poking work, forcing them to kind of dance around the issue here. Playing towards mid, that'll be closely contested pretty immediately by this Tejo, and BCJ can do a lot of slowing work as long as he doesn't peek his head out, which he won't.
I mean, like I've said, Shopify Rebellion, they like to play things a little bit slower. And Winthrop is playing into that as well, considering that it is an eco for Shopify Rebellion. But again, they have this A-hit split with an insert on Nasi. Nasi's just waiting down towards main. Interestingly enough, though, Nasi is making a lot of noise, so it's not a slow roll out of them. They are trying to be known that we are going A. It's going to cost them.
Eventually, they'll spray through on that. On this eco, it's definitely more clear for Winthrop as well. They're a lot more confidently taking this, so Shopify just responding in kind of a little early to see if they can find an early pickoff. Now Paint trying to do the same for the post plant. We'll grab one more, but that's all Shopify is going to be able to get this round. Winthrop continue to stay confident in this A take. And it seems like they can, they're able to kind of cage out Shopify from taking enough space to make the post plant really dangerous, at least for now.
We talked about tests earlier, Tenric, and honestly, they are going for that A+, because it's literally been A ever so consistently. The B side of the map was tested a little bit, just like the waters were kind of, rippled, but it wasn't necessarily like a full hit. Something that I would like to see as well is the way that Winthrop played it earlier, where they stack up into it, and it's exactly what we get. If you look at the minimap, folks, that's exactly what they're going to do. They're brawling, they're fighting, they're setting their initiator up with the duelist for support.
Yeah, out the gate here. All right, Paint on the Infiltrator. Now the Armageddon into the dugout. Winthrop are going to try and commit to this despite the first loss. They spray through onto BCJ and find him holding close. Now a Steel Garden to go for the fight itself. Only one really caught in Monsi, and Shopify can step out of the smokes here to try and protect the President. Prowler on to Ali. Paint catches him first with the Operator, but still Winthrop making space. Moob's able to grab the cut pick. Dimensional Drift and Cosmic Divide used from Shopify to gain back this site now. And an Earl Theft. They're going to launch it all down. If they lose this here, it's so over. But Paint steps right into Moobs. Ready for the turn back. It's got to be a trade. Nasi aggressive and Flare. Good for his. Nothing doing for this retake game for Shopify Rebellion Black. Winthrop University might just have this match unlocked.
I'm so happy I flip-flopped and gave Winthrop my vote of confidence, because, wow, that was crazy. We see the ultimates expended like you were talking about, Tenric, and it was completely lost to Shopify Rebellion if they could not pick it up. And that's why this timeout's coming out here, because at this point, it's 4 in a row. You invest everything on round 18, you find nothing as a result, creates a sinking sensation of feeling despair within this squad. More than all of that, though, is that actual round breakdown. They had really good setup out of Paint. I don't exactly know why Paint popped out. Everything before Paint popping out of the Dimensional Drift was actually really good. Solid info, the wall, they knew they were playing in front of the wall. They tried to collapse on it, couldn't succeed on that collapse. So all of that goes to say that it feels like maybe a comms issue, right? It seems like maybe that's the case. And on top of all of that, the big layer, the thing I was oohing and awing about at the very start of the round, was the fact that the setup was broken. They broke the setup. The A hit was there, right? they had Paint with an op set up. They tried to hold it down, similarly to the way Winthrop played it previously to hold a main control. They lost it almost immediately. Paint got out of dodge because you have a one and done op, whereas previously when Infiltrator was playing, they had the slow walk up into a stall with the rest of the team. Paint almost felt similarly to the way that I talked about Winthrop way back when they first got onto A main. They didn't, it felt disjointed in some cases, and they immediately had to back out. So all of this culminates into a save for Shopify Rebellion, an almost guaranteed match point for Winthrop, and a really big upset if they do so.
A major one indeed, the second consecutive for Shopify Rebellion. The question walking into this match is, how do they respond to defeat for the first time? And the answer does not look pretty if this continues. Now, Winthrop splitting the diff here. Two upside the A lane, making a little bit of noise with these Prowlers, which are both now expended for the sake of getting this orb for Nasi, who's now just 2 away from this Nightfall to snowball the remaining round that would come after this eco that they're pretty keen on winning.
At this point, also, I just feel bad for Vapin, who's been in these timeouts trying to support Shopify Rebellion in every case. And I know Vapin back from the Nerd Street days when he was plugging it out and before he was on even as an assistant coach or a head coach in some of these teams. So it's a bit unfortunate. But Shopify Rebellion, like we said, you know, they're on an eco. Winthrop is respecting that really well right now. And for the story of Shopify Rebellion, they need this Thrifty. They realistically do. If they want some sort of recourse to prevent Winthrop University from getting match point.
Oh, updraft from Infiltrator, and BCJ smoked out on the one moment he could use to trade. They know he's low too. They can just sort of spray through this dugout whenever they want to, and they will. Easy takeover. That nets us 5 rounds of match point for Winthrop University. The comeback story is, as always, looking so sunny for this collegiate squad as they walk in with a Blade Storm, all the guns they could ask for. Ollie's gonna buy up into out of this Outlaw that I think he had through the previous round. Shopify Rebellion, Payne is gonna have his Operator. We're gonna have the Nightfall for Monty. You're gonna have everything you need to hold on to this defensive half.
Oh,
it just doesn't look at the cards.
I mean, no, Tenric, they're
You're
now
doing
doing
this
the
A
same
lane fight.
Yes, but no win, no duelist. It works. No duelist.
Nightfall on top of it.
Let's go. That
gets everybody.
And Paint is holding down towards mid. This is a way better hold out of A. I really want to talk about this because now they have the double initiator set up here. So they have full info, can slam them through, and it's a lot cleaner. Spaz is on this angle, being as the entry. It's a little risky, but sometimes you gotta put it all on the line here. And I love it personally. I'm excited to see it, mainly because I want to see Shopify Rebellion bring this to a close game. Because take us into OT, part 3.
Yeah, let's keep this party going.
Sure.
Of course, we will have more Valorant to play after this match. We got one more to go through. Envy versus Core after this one, so stick around. And you'll have to a little bit longer, as it appears, as Spaz and BCJ will each get theirs from another attempted A approach. We fully set up the wall this time, gamers. We've got it locked down, at least this time around. The Nightfall is expended, but it seems so is Winthrop University. Flare swings for 2, and he's still pretty much fully standing. Ali is quite low, though, trying to go for the trade game, so it's still quite awkward. And Paint with that Operator cut short any more chances. It's now 8-12.
We finally can get an answer to the A aggression. The answer was double initiator setup. I mean, it works though. You have the Nightfall in the back pocket for Shopify Rebellion, so it dissuades them out of it. Now, the real question is it going to work the same way and the same level of potency now that you do not have a Nightfall available? That is a really crucial ultimate that plays into this strategy out of Shopify Rebellion. I mean, it's gonna have to be tested because we now have another double initiator controller set up towards the A main control with smokes, with initiator utility out and active. We already have both initiators spamming.
Here we go again. Spray through from Infiltrator. Good on a BCJ through the boxes, but Spaz can do that too. And now the back out from Shopify is good. The Nightfall from Nasi confirms the 2 on site. Moves, crushes Art. It's a full swing onto the site, and this time it's far stronger. Winthrop have all they could ask for. And so Shopify, they've got to play the long game, wait out the resources, and then play back from a 2v4 disadvantage. Winthrop have all the peaks, but Pancakes has the opening. He's got to have the remaining 3, though, to hold on to this game and this match. Nasi swiftly deals with 1, holding on to the middle of sight and Spike. Pancakes now for 2. Moves on the steps, the next line of defense, and the last one Winthrop need. They're now 2-1 in the group stage. And your stage 1 champions have just now lost twice consecutively here in the Swiss.
Oh my goodness. That's such a gravity of a statement there. On top of the fact that I remember saying this when we first saw the paint setup alongside, I think it was Fade, Yoru, and Spaz and Astra. Monsi was there as well on the Fade. They first fought towards that A main control. They tried to make sure to lock that in. It fell apart because they backed out so quickly. And the same thing happens through, right? We see so consistently that Shopify Rebellion, they can brawl really well. They're a good team that can brawl. They're a team that knows how to fight and shoot. But at the end of the day, they just get out of dodge. They're like, nope, I'm out. Like, what's happening? Why are we doing that? And it just comes down to Winthrop just absolutely wrecking them on the A site, which is great off of them. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the collegiate way, and that's how you get your A pluses. And honestly, that's how you succeed with here in Valorant Challengers. Huge props to Winthrop. I do want to give them hype because that strategy, it worked. It made sense. They overwhelmed them ever so consistently on the attack side and pressured them off. But again, it did also feel a little bit like a match. The Shopify Rebellion lost to a very dominant team.
A bit of a disappearing act from the site, now a disappearing act from the top of the Swiss stage standings, at least for now. But who else would you want that to be at the hands of other than Winthrop University, who continue to look clean, continue to look like the ceiling could go sky high with every player on fire? We'll see what the desk has to say about that after this short break. Don't go anywhere.
Dăm fugă, vai! Dăm fugă, vai! Não tenta bater de frente, sabe que lá tá fazendo macete. Desce até o chão, ela tá doida pra colar com a gente. Fazendo macete. Ela tá doida pra colar com a gente.
people really like to give up and they don't really have that drive.
The expectation should be to win first place.
Get them to this end.
We kind of just threw at the end.
30 seconds left. Yeah, MAD were winning 5 versus 3.
Look how quick this one.
Oh! Welcome back to Valorant Challengers League North America. I'm your host, Elizabeth, joined by Roy and Dryad as your beautiful, wonderful, talented analysts. And if you're just joining us, you missed Winthrop University take down Shopify Rebellion once and for all, technically, because it's like kind of a revenge match, but in a very impressive fashion. And as a reminder, I was the only one who predded Winthrop University. So just all I want is the apology to be as loud as the disrespect. But moving on, this was, Roy, I'm going to go to you first. Yep, you better.
Live it up, Queen. Go ahead, have your moment.
Thank you. But this was, it was really close with the first map, Roy, and then we just get to Haven and Pearl, and just what a difference, Roy.
I mean, yeah, it's absolutely a complete difference, right? We talk a lot about Winthrop University's 5-star players on one roster, right? And I think today they really showed it. They were the definition of that. They had so many different players popping off. There's just so many moments where I really did feel like Winthrop University were just playing the game almost to perfection, right? And from where I'm standing, it really does feel like this roster has a very simplified understanding of this game. They've definitely found their identity, and you know, the cracks are beginning to show for Shopify Rebellion Black, while Winthrop University, they continue to solidify themselves as a top team in this league.
I was a little worried after we saw that map 1. It went all the way to overtime. It was Winthrop University's map pick of Lotus, and they lose it. And you oftentimes see when you lose a map like that one in overtime, when you know you almost had it, especially for that comeback, the teams are not able to recover in time, and it's actually one-sided for the other side. So I thought it was potentially 2-0 for the side of Shopify Rebellion Black, but what a way to bounce back for Winthrop University. When we talk about the mental that it takes to win, and in the series that was that long, especially for that first map, we talk about the experience that the players have. And when we think about experience, we often think about Shopify Rebellion Black, right? Some of the players, the experience that they've had both in challenges and in tier 1. But when you look at Winthrop, they are playing matches, it feels like every single day, because they're not only playing challenges, but they're also playing collegiate. And that experience is more than anybody else has right now. It is allowing them to stay alive in this really, really long series. I mean, they just came from playing a best of 5 in that collegiate circuit. So it's just those little things that really play out into not only staying alive for this map, but also understanding those win conditions going into Pearl. That last time that we saw Shopify Rebellion Black and Pearl, it was not good at all against Core. And then Winthrop, it seems like they were able to punish those mistakes. So many times we saw that A site hit coming through, a back and forth with utility, and Winthrop University ultimately into that late run, knowing how to deal with those situations better.
Yeah, I think the other really interesting thing too on Pearl is it wasn't really like a sweep on the first kills or first stats. Like there's no clear narrative, right? But whenever you watch these late rounds, whenever you watch like the super late post plans, the retakes, it actually just felt like Winthrop University were playing those scenarios better. And the crazy part about Winthrop University, guys, is after they're done beating these giants, they got to go submit their homework. So that's just crazy.
Yeah.
I think it's really funny because I think Nazi says in the hype video that we played before we get back into the live broadcast feed is, you know, we just kind of threw at the end, you know, and I think that like is the exact opposite of what we saw today. It was hard fought, and they got their ish, if you will, together at the end. And speaking of our friend Nazi, friend, are you here in the call? Are you ready for an interview?
I'm here.
There we are. Hello. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, first thing I got to ask you, sir, that clutch on Pearl. I don't know. If you go back and you watch chat went absolutely wild for you because it was absolutely insane. Talk to me about that moment. Talk to me about your decision making. And then also I want to know how your team reacted.
I feel like whenever we have a big clutch like that, like 1v2, 1v3, whatever it is, like we all just get really hyped. If it's me or like someone else, I'll get up and get like really lightheaded because I'm screaming. But what was going through my head was like, I felt really good today. Like my aim was like precise. Like I was like, okay, let me just like isolate my 1v1s because I knew they had to plant the bomb. They had like maybe like 10 seconds left. So I just kind of isolated my ones and then was able to pull out the classic and kill him.
And it was that last kill, like literal icing on a cake type deal. I also want to talk to you about your ace because you're saying you're hitting your shots today, like you feel it. What isn't, because sometimes when I talk to players, they don't care about the aces, right? Like it's like another day, another dollar type beat. But for you, and like kind of seeing this, like I'm seeing this kind of like emotional leadership side of you. Do you get hyped for your own aces? Does that like help you out? Or are you more calm, cool, and collected when that happens?
I feel like I'm more calm when I do them, but like when someone else does it, I'm going like absolutely bonkers. So when I hit it, I was like, yeah, that's calm. But when like Phil hit his ace on I think Eco on Lotus, like I went insane.
I actually want to talk to you about Lotus. That was an insane back and forth. We almost had a comeback from y'all. We were thinking it was going to happen. You were on match point. What was the discussion? Because you never took a timeout. And so we were left wondering what was this. Obviously, the discussions were fruitful enough that you'd not have to take a timeout. So what were you talking about?
Realistically, like we were down 3-11, and I was like, let's just build momentum. Like, let's see where this takes us round by round. And then we kept getting closer and closer. And I don't really want to call a timeout when we're up, especially like with all that momentum. And then I will say, like, that's another one of those maps where like it was in our hands. Like we did throw, but like I know their mental after being up 9-3 and almost losing was like super, super bad. So we kind of just took that into Haven and closed it out. And then same thing with Pearl.
What was your read on Haven? Because that was a shocking takedown of their map pick.
I mean, they picked it, which I don't know why. I think they were like, okay, Paint's gonna drop another like 30 bomb or whatever. Like the main goal is of course like shut him down. He's like their superstar. So we kind of just contained him, and then it was easy to like pick out the rest of their team there.
I'm going to talk to you kind of more about the broader aspect of this. They have beaten you before in the upper bracket finals, literally almost a month ago to the day they defeated you guys. Was this a revenge match? Was this all right, we're actually going to show them how it's done and who's on top?
100%. I mean, when they beat us, like they played with their coach, like we absolutely got stomped by them, and then it was definitely like a match to prove to them that like they're not going to just beat us every time, and it's good to get on the win column again.
Well, the win column you are, and congratulations, Lassie. Thank you so much for joining us, and
Thank you so
enjoy the rest
much.
of your day.
Thank you.
Well, folks, if you're just joining us, you missed an incredible best of 3, but we will be right back with Envy versus Cord. I know y'all in chat are waiting for it. I see y'all. All right, so be patient, get a snack. We'll be right back, all right?